The Pacific Ocean is vast. It covers 1/3 of the surface of our planet. For centuries, its deep blue waters were a frontier for exploration. For centuries, its deep blue waters were a frontier for trade. Today, this massive body of water is the world's most critical strategic arena. It is a superhighway for global commerce. Trillions of dollars in goods transit its sea lanes every year. The cables on its seabed carry the digital lifeblood of our connected world. Whoever holds influence over this ocean holds a key to global economic stability. Whoever holds influence over this ocean holds a key to global security. Here, a new great power competition is unfolding. The main players are the United States. The main players are the People's Republic of China. For decades after World War II, the U.S. Navy was the undisputed master of the Pacific. Its carrier strike groups patrolled the waters, guaranteeing freedom of navigation. They underwrote the security of America's allies. This was the era of the American Lake. But that era now faces its most significant challenge. China has re-emerged as a sea power. Its economic miracle funded a naval expansion of breathtaking speed and scale. The plan is growing larger and more sophisticated each year. It is transforming from a coastal defense force into a true blue water navy. That shift creates tension from the coast of California to the Strait of Malacca. The United States sees itself as guarantor of the existing international order. China sees the heavy American presence near its shores as a relic of a past century. This disagreement has set the stage for a naval rivalry that will define the 21st century. When we look at the raw numbers, the story becomes fascinating. The People's Liberation Army Navy now holds the title for the world's largest navy by sheer hull count. Recent estimates place the plan's fleet at over 370 battle force ships, projected to grow to 400 by the end of this year, 2025. This figure includes a wide array of vessels, from powerful destroyers to scores of smaller corvettes. This rapid expansion is the result of a massive, state-directed shipbuilding program that is unparalleled in modern history. Chinese shipyards are launching new warships at a pace that has astonished observers, effectively churning out a new navy in just a couple of decades. In contrast, the United States Navy's fleet is smaller in number. The current battle force consists of approximately 296 ships. While the U.S. has plans to grow its fleet, its shipbuilding capacity has not kept pace with China's explosive growth. However, looking at numbers alone can be misleading. The U.S. Navy's ships are, on average, significantly larger and more heavily armed than their Chinese counterparts. American cruisers and destroyers have greater missile capacity. The fleet has far more experience operating globally. The U.S. Navy emphasizes capability and tonnage over pure hull count, fielding a force designed for sustained, high-intensity operations far from home. The key difference lies in fleet composition and philosophy. The Chinese fleet includes a large number of smaller vessels, like the Type 056 corvette. These agile ships are perfect for patrolling China's near seas, the so-called First Island chain, and asserting sovereignty in contested areas like the South China Sea. The U.S. Navy, by contrast, has largely divested from smaller combatants, focusing instead on large, multi-mission platforms like the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. These ships are floating fortresses capable of anti-air, anti-submarine and anti-surface warfare simultaneously. Nothing projects naval power quite like an aircraft carrier. These are floating sovereign airfields capable of launching dozens of advanced fighter jets. They can strike targets hundreds of miles away. In this critical category, the United States holds a commanding and undeniable lead. The U.S. Navy operates 11 massive nuclear-powered supercarriers. 10 are Nimitz-class, one is the new Ford-class. Each can carry an air wing of around 75 aircraft, FA-18 Super Hornets, F-35C Lightning II stealth fighters, support aircraft. They can stay at sea indefinitely, their range limited only by food and supplies. China is working hard to catch up, but it has a long way to go. The plan currently operates 3 carriers, Liaoning, Shandong, Fujian. Liaoning was a rebuilt Soviet-era hull, mainly a training platform. Shandong was China's first domestically built carrier, an improved Liaoning design. Both use a ski jump ramp to launch J-15 Flying Shark fighters, which limits the aircraft's fuel and weapons load. Enter the Fujian. Launched in 2022, the Fujian is a much larger, more modern design. Crucially, it is equipped with electromagnetic catapults, just like the latest American Ford-class carriers. That enables launch of airborne early warning planes and fighters with full combat loads. Beneath the waves of the Pacific, a silent and deadly competition is underway. The submarine force is arguably a Navy's most potent and survivable asset. These underwater hunters can strike with devastating effect and then disappear into the ocean's depths. Here, the United States Navy possesses a significant technological edge. The entire U.S. submarine fleet is nuclear-powered. This gives American subs virtually unlimited range and endurance. They can stay submerged for months at a time, their missions limited only by crew endurance and food supplies. Ballistic missile submarines, fast attack submarines, Los Angeles-class, Seawolf-class, Virginia-class, exceptionally quiet, incredibly difficult to detect. Hunting enemy ships and submarines, conducting intelligence surveillance, launching Tomahawk cruise missiles to strike deep inland. The 3 Seawolf-class boats in particular are among the most advanced and deadly. China's submarine force is numerically larger but technologically mixed. Nuclear-powered submarines, diesel-electric submarines. Chinese nuclear subs are generally considered noisier than American counterparts. Large fleet of modern diesel-electric SSKs. Many are equipped with air-independent propulsion, AIP. AIP allows weeks submerged without surfacing. Naval power is not just about ships, it is also about geography. Where those ships can refuel, rearm, repair, is just as important as how many missiles they carry. In the Pacific, the United States benefits from a powerful and long-standing geographic advantage. This advantage is built on a network of sovereign territories and a web of strong alliances. The key U.S. territory is Guam, a strategically vital island in the Western Pacific. It hosts a major air base and a naval base capable of servicing submarines and surface warships. It acts as a forward-deployed logistics hub, a pivot point from which the U.S. can project power into Asia. Beyond its own territory, the U.S. relies on a formidable ring of allies, often described as the first island chain, second island chain. The most important of these is Japan. The U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet is headquartered in Yokosuka, Japan. This allows a powerful U.S. carrier strike group and other warships to be permanently forward deployed right on China's doorstep. Other key allies, South Korea, the Philippines, Australia, each hosts U.S. forces and critical access to ports and airfields. These alliances effectively encircle China, giving the U.S. Navy numerous points of access. China, by contrast, is geographically constrained. It is surrounded by U.S. allies and a string of islands that effectively wall it off from the wider Pacific. To break out into the blue water, the plan must transit through choke points like the Miyako Strait near Japan. Those passages are heavily monitored by the U.S. and its partners. To counter this disadvantage, China has engaged in 2 major strategies. The seas of the Indo-Pacific are, a stage for constant military maneuvering. Both the United States and Chinese navies regularly conduct these large-scale exercises to hone skills and test new equipment and to send powerful political signals. The United States Navy's premier Pacific exercise is RIMPAC, the Rim of the Pacific exercise. Held every 2 years in Hawaii, it's the world's largest international maritime warfare exercise. RIMPAC brings together dozens of nations, showcasing alliance strength and interoperability. It's a clear demonstration of America's convening power, with allies from Australia, Japan, Canada, India. China also holds frequent, increasingly sophisticated naval exercises. The plan conducts large-scale drills in the South China Sea and in waters around Taiwan. These exercises simulate amphibious landings, anti-carrier strikes, air and sea blockades. China also drills with other nations, most notably Russia. Sino-Russian naval drills occur in the Sea of Japan and the Mediterranean. Beyond planned exercises, the unplanned close encounters at sea are most telling. U.S. ships regularly conduct freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, in the South China Sea. American destroyers and cruisers sail close, within the 12 nautical mile limit that China claims around its artificial islands. These FONOPs are shadowed by planned warships and Coast Guard vessels, producing tense, close-quarters situations. These standoffs can be dangerous. Chinese ships have performed aggressive, unprofessional maneuvers, cutting across the bows of American warships at close range. The competition between the United States and Chinese navies extends far beyond just the number of ships they can float. It's a fierce, high-stakes race for technological supremacy. The future of naval warfare will be defined by new weapons, sensors, platforms that could, render traditional forces obsolete. One of the most critical areas in this race is hypersonic missiles. These weapons travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound and can maneuver in flight, making them incredibly difficult for current missile defense systems to intercept. China has invested heavily in this area and is widely considered to have deployed operational hypersonic anti-ship missiles, like the DF-21D, DF-26. These weapons are often called carrier killers. They're designed to hold America's most valuable naval assets, its aircraft carriers, at risk from over 1,000 miles away. The United States is also racing to develop its own offensive and defensive hypersonic capabilities, but by most accounts, it's currently behind China in deploying these systems. Another key technological battleground is in the realm of unmanned systems. Unmanned surface vessels, unmanned underwater vessels, aerial drones. The vision is for future fleets to be a hybrid of manned and unmanned platforms. Large, expensive ships like destroyers and carriers would act as motherships, coordinating swarms of smaller, cheaper and expendable drones. Scouting, mine clearing, electronic warfare, direct attack. The naval rivalry in the Pacific isn't just some abstract contest for prestige, it's driven by deep-seated and competing national interests that have global consequences. For the United States, the primary goal is to maintain the existing rules-based international order. This order, in place since the end of World War II, freedom of navigation, open sea lanes, peaceful resolution of disputes, the United States believes its naval presence in the Pacific underwrites this system, ensuring stability that has allowed many nations, including China, to prosper. A key part is upholding security commitments to allies like Japan, South Korea, the Philippines. From Washington's view, China's actions directly threaten this order. China's expansive claims in the South China Sea, codified in the 9-dash line, are not recognized under international law. A 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling confirmed this, which Beijing rejected. Beijing sees the heavy U.S. military presence so close to its coast as a continuation of the century of humiliation when foreign powers once dictated terms to China. The most dangerous scenario is a conflict over Taiwan. If China launched an invasion, the U.S. would face a difficult choice about whether to intervene and honor its implicit commitments to the island. Such a conflict between two nuclear-armed powers would be catastrophic worldwide. Beyond Taiwan, control of vital sea lanes is a major friction point. Strait of Malacca, South China Sea. Who guarantees security in these waters is at the heart of the U.S.-China naval competition. So, who has the more powerful navy in the Pacific today? The answer is, well, nuanced and really depends on the specific scenario. As of 2025, the United States Navy remains the world's preeminent naval force. It has a significant qualitative advantage in nearly every domain. Its carrier fleet is larger and far more experienced. Its nuclear-powered submarine force is quieter and more capable. In a head-to-head battle in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the United States Navy would almost certainly prevail. However, that's not the most likely scenario. In a conflict in its own backyard, within the first island chain, such as a crisis over Taiwan, or in the South China Sea, the balance shifts dramatically. Here, China can bring its full national power to bear. The plan's numerical superiority in ships, a massive arsenal of land-based anti-ship ballistic and cruise missiles, a formidable air force, and an extensive network of sensors. In this specific context, China's A2AD strategy could make it extremely costly, perhaps even prohibitively so, for the United States Navy to operate. The United States might be the world's strongest navy, but China is rapidly becoming the strongest navy in its home waters. Looking toward the future, the trends are concerning for the United States. China's shipbuilding industry continues to outpace America's by a wide margin. The plan's fleet will continue to grow larger and more technologically advanced. The Fujian carrier and its successors will close the carrier gap. New generations of Chinese submarines will become quieter. Meanwhile, the United States Navy is struggling with maintenance backlogs and delays in its own shipbuilding programs. While new platforms like the Ford-class carrier, the Virginia-class submarine, and the upcoming Constellation-class frigate are highly capable, they're being built in smaller numbers and at a slower pace. The Pacific Showdown is far from over. In many ways, it has just begun. The United States still holds the advantage in quality, experience, and its unparalleled network of allies. China has the advantage of geography, industrial scale, and singular focus. The coming decade will be critical. The balance of power in the Pacific is not static. It's a dynamic and shifting scale, and honestly, it's tipping more every day.